Listen to the Adventurers Guild podcast, the home of tabletop comics, a weekly comic book for your ears, releasing every new comic book day, the annual Amber Hill Halloween special, the upcoming eponymous Adventurers Guild quests, and more. On iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and Podbean, the Adventurers Guild, telling amazing stories through tabletop gaming.
Welcome one and all to Merely Role Players, where theatrical people play role-playing games. I'm Matt, I'm your compère for this Backstage episode of our main house production. I'm joined remotely, because we are recording during pandemic lockdown, by Natalie Winter.
Hello.
By Richard Stratton.
Hello.
And by subject of this character creation episode, Alex Pankhurst.
Hello, how are we all?
Doing all right, thanks. How are you?
I'm in a cupboard.
And so keen, Alex. You almost cut over Matt's introduction of you. Like, yes, I'm here. Let's get creating.
Sorry.
Lockdown does strange things to us all. Yes, we're all recording in various different spaces, which is why the audio might sound a little bit different to normal. Please bear with. Hopefully, we're all still intelligible. Alex, today we're going to do your character creation for our Monster of the Week main house production. Are you excited?
I mean, I'm excited, nervous because this is a completely new sort of system to mess around with, but mostly excited just to sort of get my ideas across. So yeah, yeah. In short, yes.
Excited, nervous, and you have, of course, chosen one of the non-standard extended edition playbooks to play as well. So, which playbook is it that you've picked?
Well, I wasn't aware it was an extended playbook. I just saw the name, The Summoned, and thought, well, if I can get anywhere close to even remotely playing like something like Hellboy, that would be well up my Strasser. Well up for my Strasser.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this playbook was designed explicitly with Hellboy in mind. So this is designed by Steve Hickey and then endorsed by Michael Sands, the creator of Monster of the Week, as an official Monster of the Week playbook. Other than Hellboy, any sort of fave examples of this type of character?
I mean, I don't have any other sort of go-to characters from any pantheon that sort of remotely look or feel similar to this whatsoever. So unfortunately not, but I have read quite a bit of Hellboy, so I've got an understanding of how his character works. That's not necessarily how mine will, but it's a good sort of starting point, that's for certain.
So you can create your own thing. You don't have to be influenced by previous art.
He's bright red.
Legally distinct. Legally distinct.
Legally distinct.
It's a different shade of red.
Yeah, it's more of a maroon.
Yeah.
A bright maroon.
Big fan of dogs.
So you've sort of familiarized yourself at least a little bit with the playbook. Have you got an idea in your head of a concept for this character starting off, or are we going to build that up by going through the options in the playbook?
I very much had a concept as soon as I thought of it, just because I like generally taking a slightly more humorous look at these sort of things. So the idea I had was this character, wherever he's from, someone summoned him in order to bring about the apocalypse. But where he's from, this happens like all the time. And it's just a case of like some poor random, the equivalent of a demonic accountant being summoned in to the plane of Earth and being like, well, what do you expect me to do? I'm demonic, but I'm not here to bring about the apocalypse, but I am a demon. You've got a demon. It's not the demon that you wanted. I'm sorry.
We're not all like that.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be so powerful and so much. So yeah, in your world, yeah, I am, but on my world, I'm just an average Joe, really. Why me? I was having a really nice cup of coffee, and then I got portaled here. I was not best pleased.
So, do you want to go back, or are you like settled? Can you go back?
This is something I haven't actually considered at all. Like whether I want to go back, whether I can. All I know is I'm a little bit annoyed that I'm here.
Cool.
And I quite like the idea of just being a little bit like not necessarily resentful, but reticent to assist. Just being like, for God's, oh right, yeah, I suppose now I'm here. But yeah, so I just kind of got it was more of a general emotional response to being brought somewhere that he doesn't want to be that I wanted to play.
and not just the plane of Earth, but this town.
Yeah.
This slightly sleepy, neglected market town.
It's just like of all the places, like nowhere interesting, not like a metropolis where I can sort of like try the cuisine, try the food, that sort of thing. Like could do a little bit of sightseeing. If I ever do go back, I've got some stories to tell. No, I get portaled to this place.
Have you got a name? It's always one of the hardest things to do. So if you haven't got one, we can always do that later.
I haven't thought of a name purely on the basis that I get the impression that his name's not even pronounceable or sayable we can't pronounce it or say it or even like begin to make the noises and sounds appropriate for it. So I think he might have to give himself an Earth name to make it easier for everyone else. He's called himself something really generic.
I like that. Okay, we can work on what that really generic name is going to be. Let's work through the options in this playbook.
Mm.
So first of all is your look. You get some gender options. So the options are male, female, asexual, unknown, intersex, alien. Which of those looks do you think you have?
I mean, I'll go with male, but just because I think I'll be able to play that better.
Okay.
But at the same time, it's not like I'm going to look distinctly masculine.
Sure.
He's not going to have like rippling pectorals. He's a demon.
But his pronouns are he, him.
Yeah. Just because I don't think I'll be able to do any justice to anything else, really.
Right, fair enough. And then, still on the look, demonic body, elemental body, reptilian body, glassy body, almost human body.
I want almost human,
mm-hmm.
but it's weird. Like I get the image was like people can see him. And he'll be like just slightly taller than the average individual. And every so often, like his image sort of flickers or shimmers to sort of hint at something underneath that very much isn't human.
I like that because not to skip too far ahead, you get by default you get a move called freakish,
yes.
Which the text reads, "You're weird and people react badly." So it has to be something off.
Just something not quite right. Not like he's got like a massive tentacle arms and a big gaping maw. Like he can make himself look presentable, but it's like a real struggle to hold it all together. So I think that there's something to definitely be played around with that. So we'll go with alien body.
Okay, that's really nice because a lot of the other player characters, the hunters in this story, are going to be, they all have like a constant effort of concentration to remember that things like magic and monsters exist. And I like that even though you are a monster, so you don't have to think about that, you still have something that is taking up your concentration in the back of your mind all the time. You have something in common with everyone.
Oh, awesome.
Cool. Some sort of element of your, this is sort of a look and also a personality thing. Cigars, pets, sports, junk food, hat, films, comics, luxury food, antiques, or classic cars.
Hat singular. Hat singular. I'm not going to go with that, but I really enjoy the fact, not multiple, just the one.
Oh, could you please have just a hat, even if you don't choose this thing, could you just have a hat that you just wear? You just a hat.
One hat.
I love the idea of just a demon with a little like a boater. Like, you can't go anywhere without your hat.
I mean, like, what is this? Or even like he doesn't wear the hat quite right. Like he wears it strapped to his belt or something, because that's where he thinks he wears it. He wears it. Yeah. It's like he's going to put it on for a special occasion, so he just keeps it on him at all times. That's something else I was looking forward to playing with, like the idea of like he hasn't quite completely grasped all of the ways in which this world works. So there's like every so often things he does that everyone's just like, what? I quite like the idea, not cigars, but cigarettes. So he's definitely going to be a smoker.
Got that kind of infernal nature to you.
Yeah. So cigarettes, hat.
Does he have a cool way of lighting his cigarettes?
Just like a click.
I get the impression that if he brings one to his mouth, it's already lit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
nice.
That's good.
But he doesn't think about it. So people see it happen and they're like, and he's like, what?
He's seen cigarettes. He knows that cigarettes are on fire. So when he puts it in his mouth, it's on fire.
It's on fire. And he's like, why have you got these weird little plastic things that make them on fire when you can just make them on fire? Why don't you just do that? I also quite like the idea of, if I can have 3, luxury food. The idea that he just really enjoys food and sampling things, but they might not be things that people want to eat. So he'll smell something that's really awful to human olfactory senses, and he'll be like, oh, that smells like something from back home. I've really got to try that. So he'll just start noshing down on some sort of awful moldy fungus, and everyone's like retching in the background. He's like, this is really good, guys. You've got to try this.
He really loves those pools that smell of rotten eggs because they're full of sulfur.
Yeah. He's like, oh, that is a great bisque. That is a great bisque. Oof.
Constantly out the back of the local town, like fancy restaurant, going through the bins.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Ooh, get a load of those moldy chantilly mushrooms.
Ooh, nom.
It's luxury food, but it's the offcuts of the luxury food.
Yes.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, it says pick one, but I like you having more than one of those things. So go for it. Cigarettes, hat, luxury food refuse.
Oh, hat is still the best one.
Other than hat, what do you wear? Working clothes, motorcycle leathers, huge coat, no clothes, or normal clothes?
I wanted him to be slightly dapperly dressed. Maybe he has the look of a sort of a tailor. So, with the little the things that hold the sleeve. What are they called? The things that hold sleeves up.
Oh, the little metal, yeah.
Those little metal bands.
Sleeve garters.
Sleeve garters, yeah. So sleeve garters, a waistcoat, maybe not a jacket on top of the waistcoat, but a waistcoat, shirt, trousers, smart shoes. So he looks smart. The hat can be completely separate to all of that. So it can be a hat. I'm enjoying the idea of a straw boater, but that might change depending on if I have any better ideas.
That's a really interesting, like, clothes-wise, Alex, because that kind of dapper kind of devil thing is very classic, like the devil turning up and doing a deal with the devil.
Yes.
And the devil's always like in a suit and a tie and is sort of like really kind of smarmy with like the little pencil mustache.
Yes.
You kind of get the sense that whoever summoned you are like, oh, this is perfect. Look at this.
Yes.
Look at this. And you're like, hello.
Hi.
I'm Colin.
But yeah, so he's quite dapperly dressed. But as I said, like every so often there'll be like a shimmer or a ripple, and you'll see like suckers or like tentacles or some sort of weird, vaguely Lovecraftian weirdness going on underneath.
Nice.
So cool.
We've said as part of the setting, like one of the things about it is that monsters and like stories of magic and things like that, nothing is quite what people thought it was, and that like the ideas we have about demons or about ghosts or about vampires are like the result of somebody who encountered one and then forgot about it and then like wrote something that came through in their subconscious that was close but not quite.
Yeah.
So what are demons? Like, how are demons different from like the stereotypical demon? I mean, we've already got the idea that there are demon accountants, which is quite different.
Well, I quite like the idea that in the same way that Superman on Krypton has no superpowers, all Kryptonians are just normal human beings, but you bring them to Earth and they instantly become much stronger, like the laser eyes, all the rest of it. I quite like the idea that demons in their setting, just normal demons. They look a bit different, but they go about their normal lives. They have a similar sort of hierarchical structure to us. They might have more kings and princes and that sort of thing, but everyone pretty much just gets on and does what they do. But you bring them onto our plane of reality and instantly they become much stronger, much scarier looking. They have the ability to sort of wield magics as we would see them, but otherwise they're like, I didn't realize I had these powers until I came here.
I like that, because I like the idea that the place you came from is not the Christian hell where damned souls go to be tortured for eternity. It's just a place. It's just a different place with different people.
That looks to us absolutely terrifying. There probably is loads of fire raging, but for us, that's quite a nice look. That's the aesthetic that we've chosen. We go for white picket fences and perfectly trimmed lawns, and we're like, Jesus Christ, that order is like, whoa, that's terrifying.
Oh, and Dante went there accidentally and then forgot about it and wrote the Inferno based on his vague recollections.
And just the idea of like humans coming in and we're like, don't come here, you'll get really hurt. Like you can't, get out again. So we're like, also another random sort of crossing the streams horribly, but like if anyone's ever played the Doom games, the idea that the demons there are like terrified of this one person going around killing them all. I quite like the idea of like humans being brought to sort of like the demonic plane and trying to kill loads of people, and it's being like, why are you doing this? What are you? Stop it! This is horrendous. You haven't done anything wrong, and you just come in and you start blasting the place up. That was Gareth's house. He had a wife and kids.
I'm getting like a grown-up Monsters Inc. vibe from this situation.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And we've already had some nice examples of like very normal man names, Colin and Gareth.
Yes, yeah. It's not like I've been thinking about this or anything.
Right. The next thing to pick is your ratings, which is what this game calls your stats. So you've got 5 different options for stat lines here. You'll notice that as the summoned, you always have tough +2. That is common throughout all of your different options. Mm-hmm. But then you've got various different options for what your other 4 are going to be.
I quite liked the very last one, which is charm 0, cool +1, sharp -1, tough +2, and then weird +1. I wanted weird to be up there because it was to do with magic, and I am weird. So, and I want to stress my character is weird. So don't want to slander myself.
We're not crossing the streams as much as we used to in terms of your character being you.
No. So yeah, I quite like the last one. I quite like the idea of being tough +2 and weird +2, but then the minuses meant that it wasn't as well rounded. I had a feeling that it would start to negatively impact on gameplay. So there was a little bit of metagaming going on there.
I mean, that is allowed at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how this will all play out. So ultimately, it's metagaming, but postulating more than anything else.
Cool. All right. So that's your stat line. Next thing on the playbook is the apocalypse. Despite the fact that you were not a mighty warrior or a prophet or anything in Demon World, you are destined to bring about the apocalypse, and your arrival in this world was one of the signs of the apocalypse. So we need to come up with a sign of the apocalypse that has already happened, and then there will be more later on that you will trigger by doing various different moves. So there's some example ones on the sheet, or you can come up with one, or we can come up with one as a group. Are there any on the sheet that grab your attention, or shall we come up with something else?
One that jumped out at me was "Take Your Throne."
Mm-hmm.
There was part of me that really enjoyed the idea that he honestly doesn't believe he's going to bring about the apocalypse, but everyone else is almost certain that he is. And every time he sits in a chair, people are like, but it could just be a chair. And he's like, stop it, guys. I know that at some point I'm going to sit in this really terrible chair and it's all going to go horribly wrong, but it's just a chair. And then one time when I do sit in a chair, it all kicks off. And that is actually the apocalypse. Just making the mundane kind of extraordinary was something that really cheered me up.
That's really cool. So that a sign has already happened. So one time that you sat in a chair at some point before our story starts, it was clear that was actually a sign of the apocalypse.
And that's why people like if it happens again. I mean, we brushed very close to it last time, but if it happens again, like dark times. Well, the apocalypse.
Yeah, and we don't have to decide quite yet what shape the apocalypse is going to take. We will discover that through play.
Okay, good. I'm glad I don't have to design the end of the world quite just.
I mean, when it happens, it will be your fault.
Yeah, no. Fundamentally, I'm braced for that.
Yeah, what I really love about the way this playbook works is that every time you use a point of luck, the apocalypse comes closer, and it has loads of moves that encourage you to just spend more luck. Like most people can only use luck to turn a roll into a 12+ or to avoid harm from something. You get loads of different other things that you can use your luck for if you decide to take the moves, which is great. Yeah, so we'll do moves. So you automatically have the freakish move, which means that it's hard for you to manipulate people into giving you things or information until you've gained their trust, including the other players. They get to decide at what point you've earned their trust, whether that's before the story starts or whether you have to earn it during the story. But you can always spend luck to get past this. And then you get 2 other moves from the list. So have any caught your eye?
Should I feel that was one that made me, that again resonated quite nicely with me. So the description of that is: your body has 2+ armor. This does not stack with any other armor. So just the idea that he's like, someone's like trying to attack him, and he's like, "What are you doing?"
And that's especially good given what we now know about your look, that you're just this dapper gent in sleeve garters, and somebody like hacks at you with a big sword, and you're like, what was that meant to be?
Was that meant to harm me? I don't get it. So are you attacking me? Like, even like concepts like that, he hasn't quite fully grasped. So yeah.
Why would you do that? I'm just here to do the books.
Yeah, exactly. I'm here to just make sure that it's all balanced. That's it. I suppose that's quite an interesting slant on demonic accountants, checks and balances.
Yeah.
So yeah, the other ones, absolute badass doesn't really fit in. Mayhem was one I quite like the idea of as well, but it doesn't use.
That lets you grab nearby large objects and lamp people with them at the possible risk of collateral damage.
Yeah, so I there is part of me that quite likes that.
Two of the other moves are spend luck to do this type moves.
And part of me wants to use that as well.
Yeah, there's also one that requires you to come up with one-liners when you do moves to give the rest of the team a bonus.
I didn't want to do that one purely from a role-playing pressure standpoint. I was like, if I do it during the game, fantastic, but I don't want to like people be relying on me to come up with some pithy put down. It's like, no, I think I'm going to go with mayhem. It doesn't involve me spending luck, but I do quite like, I want to be able to chuck things around willy-nilly. You
don't like doing it, it sounds like. You sort of don't feel like that's your job, but when the need arises or when you're sufficiently enraged, you're perfectly capable of tearing down a lamppost and hitting someone with it.
Yes, exactly that.
And then last thing to do is to pick some gear. You get one huge weapon and two heavy weapons.
I was looking at the huge weapons, and they all seemed a bit mundane, apart from the gigantic hellsword. And as I have the option to pick two other heavy weapons that are far more mundane, I was like, I am from another plane of reality. I might as well have a gigantic hellsword on the proviso that everyone's going to think it's this magical, mystical weapon that's come from far afield and is just fantastic and all the rest of it. But I'm more a case of, well, everyone's got one of these back where I'm from.
Yeah, this is a letter opener.
Yeah, exactly that. It's like, I use this all the time. Like, oh, can this harm people?
This is my pocket protector.
Yes. Yeah, it's like his tie clip or something. The demonic hellsword imbued into a tie clip. He's like, yeah, I'll take this off.
There's so much we don't know about the demon dimension. I'm so glad that they don't want to conquer us.
I know. We're quite happy where we are. We don't like where you live. It's odd. Far too ordered.
Too cold and clean.
Yeah, the gigantic hellsword is a very, very cool weapon. It does lots of harm. It's quite messy. It counts as magic just in case there are any monsters that are immune to things that aren't.
Oh, handy. The other two other weapons, I wanted something a little bit more ranged. So I'm going to go with a magnum and a shotgun. One, because I just like shotguns. I mean, I've never used one in real world, but there's something deeply satisfying, even in terms of like just gaming when you're using them. The Doom shotgun, for example, just classic weapon. So yeah, shotgun and magnum.
Beautiful. So there's more on the sheet. There's sort of introductions and how you know the other hunters, but we're going to do that when we actually get to playing a session.
Okay.
So that's all for filling in your playbook, but just another couple of questions about your character.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any sort of relationship with the government body that up until recently was in charge of dealing with monsters and magic and things, the Department of Emissions?
Oh, no.
No relationship with them at all?
No, well, I've literally got no idea who they are. We know of like the human realm, but I, being so like low down, don't actually know much about it. Like, I've heard rumors like you eat fish, which is just crazy when you think about it. But other than that, no, I've got no idea.
Okay, cool. So as far as we know, they weren't the ones that summoned you. So we have an interesting question hanging over us of who did and why, which we can explore. How long have you been in town here in Sherrydown?
Now, that is a very good question. I want to say long enough that I know some things, but not that long that I know everything.
So you're probably like summoned this century at least.
I mean, maybe not even a century long. Like maybe like a decade.
Yeah.
Like I've maybe been here for 10 years, and I'm just starting to get the feel of the place. I haven't ventured any further past Sherrydown. That's like the limit of my vision.
There's enough weirdness here to get used to without going any further.
Have you seen the subway? It's insane. So many sandwiches out the back. Just fantastic. So yeah, I think I've been here for around 10 years.
Cool. would you like to add a feature to Sherrydown? It can be the subway that you've just mentioned, if you like, or anything else.
Absolutely. Yes, I would like to add the fact that Sherrydown does have a Subway restaurant. Other sandwich restaurants are available.
Oh no, the big brands, they've made their way to our little town.
I know, right?
It's good that they're keeping the high street alive. Although, is it on the high street or is it in some sort of shopping centre?
See, I pictured it on the high street.
Okay, that's where it is then.
Okay, cool. Amazing.
And when we start our story, you will be part of already this organisation that has stepped in to defend the community that the DO is no longer defending. What do you think made you join up? Do you think somebody recruited you? Do you think you just found out that they were doing it and thought it was a good idea? Like, why are you doing this?
I think someone recruited me. I would definitely not have found that out of my own volition. Yeah, definitely someone noticed me and was like, that weird shimmery guy that looks a little bit awkward is a little bit awkward. There's something odd about him. Let's bring him for some questioning. And then when they questioned me, they were like, oh, right.
So when they asked you, like, do you want to join this effort? Why do you think you said yes?
An element of boredom.
Yeah, just something to do.
Something to do. I don't have a job because I'm not a great employee. I don't work particularly well with other humans because they keep seeing weird tentacles, horns, that sort of thing that sort of put them off. So my freakish nature means that I often get managed out of roles, even if that simple management is talking to people more.
So this is a sort of a stable team to be part of, and they might keep you subway leavings.
Yeah, exactly. It gives me a bit of a purpose to my day, structures my time a little bit, which I was always a big fan of back on in the demonic plane, but haven't been able to really do that well over here. So yeah, it's a bit of stability for me.
Have you offered to do their books yet?
Yeah, I have, but my understanding of accounting is very different to yours.
I wonder if they asked you first to do the books, and it only became clear later that you might actually be a good monster hunter as well.
They only then later found out that I was a demon.
Yeah,
that I enjoy. They were like, "This guy's. There's something odd about this guy. I can't quite. It's the weird shimmery tentacles. Right? Yes. Okay. That'll be it.
Why do the accounts keep bursting into flames? What? He's writing all weird sigils on them.
Perfect.
All right. Any closer to a name, or do we want to leave that to later?
I think we're going to have to. I think in terms of my mundane name, I quite like the idea of Colin, but I'm not settled on it just yet. But we'll put Colin in as a placeholder name.
Nice.
Oh,
maybe I can keep changing my mundane name. Be like, no, can I be Graham today? I want to see if that feels any better. And that's another reason why he hasn't got on well with people, because he keeps changing his name and not understanding that that's a problem.
Graham, another solid normal man name.
I know. It's good, isn't it?
Could you like your demonic name, like maybe all demons have the bit that you can't pronounce, and you know how they have like longer sort of like terror of the this and like the tentacle
titles.
Yeah. Could you think of like some of those that you could put after Colin or Graham, whatever you go for? Because it's like having how like some countries, like particularly Spanish countries, will have really long names because they keep adding like family names to it, and you end up with these kind of long ones, and then they'll go by shortened version. Okay. You can have something like that.
Colin, the many splendid, taker of the throne.
Taker of the throne, keeper of the books.
Keeper of the books.
There we go.
You could get a new name every time there's a new sign of the apocalypse.
Yeah.
This gives us lots of lovely stuff to work with. So, Alex, you're ready to play.
I am indeed. I'm looking forward to it. Already.
This has been Vigil, a main house production from Merely Roleplayers. It stars Dave as Mick, Vicky as Renko, Ellie Pitkin as Persephone Byron, and Alex Pankhurst as Graham. Sound design for this production is by Natalie Winter, and the theme music is by Alex Pankhurst. I'm Matt Boothman, and I play the supporting cast, as well as editing and producing this episode. We were playing Monster of the Week, a role-playing game by Michael Sands, published by Evil Hat Productions. You can find Monster of the Week at genericgames.co.nz. Merely Roleplayers is a Foggy Outline production in association with Blackshaw Theatre Company. Until next time, if drama be the food of life, play on.